We now come to the second Select Committee statement on behalf of the Defence Committee. Singh Dhesi will speak for up to 10 minutes, during which no intervention may be taken. At the conclusion of his statement, I will call members to ask questions on the subject of the statement. These should be brief questions, not full speeches. Can I emphasise that questions should be directed to the Select Committee Chair and not the relevant Government Minister. Front benchers may take part in questioning. I call Singh Dhesi.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And it is indeed a pleasure to present the Defence Committee's third report of the Parliament, illustrating just how hard it is working on the House's behalf for the people and their Parliament. And my sincere gratitude also to the Backbench Business Committee for granting time for this salient, significant statement on the Global Combat Air Programme. The UK is a world leader in combat air. We have developed and built some of the most iconic fighter jet aircraft in history, from the Spitfire and Meteor through to the Tornado and Typhoon. The Global Combat Air Programme, or GCAP, offers the opportunity to build on that history as we look to the Royal Air Force of the future. GCAP, Madam Deputy Speaker, an international collaboration with Japan and Italy, which aims to deliver a next-generation fighter aircraft by 2035, will be one of the UK's most significant defence programmes of the coming years. And the new aircraft, known as Tempest, will be crucial in countering the threat posed by our adversaries in an increasingly volatile world. GCAP promises much: national sovereignty in combat air, strengthened relationships with key allies, and a boost to our defence industrial capacity. However, Madam Deputy Speaker, delivering on this promise will not be easy, and the committee's report has sought to make constructive recommendations which we believe will maximise GCAP's chances of meeting its ambitious target on time and on budget. Before I come on to the detail of our findings, I would like to provide some context for our inquiry, which was begun by our predecessor committee but interrupted by the general election. Given the importance of the topic, we felt it was incumbent upon us to complete this important work and bring our findings to the House. I would like to place on record the committee's appreciation of the work undertaken by our predecessors. I would also like to thank the committee staff, especially Lucy Petrie, who managed the inquiry through to completion, as well as our specialist advisor, Douglas Barry. I express my gratitude to my fellow committee members, many of whom are present in the chamber today, who approached this report in the collaborative, cross-party manner for which select committees are rightly renowned. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, I turn to the report's conclusions. It is no surprise that a programme as ambitious as GCAP will take up a significant share of the defence budget in the coming years. The Ministry of Defence has already spent £2 billion on the programme and has allocated a further £12 billion over the coming decade. Our report calls for transparency about costs as GCAP progresses, so that our committee and others in this House can hold the Ministry of Defence to account. The need for robust scrutiny of GCAP is underlined by the difficulties faced by previous multilateral defence programmes, which have all too often seen costs spiral and delays pile up. Of particular relevance here is the UK's experience on the Eurofighter Typhoon, where the committee heard of the difficulties caused by a lack of empowerment within the programme's delivery organisations. We make clear in our report that these fundamental errors cannot be repeated on GCAP. If it is to succeed, GCAP must not only learn from the mistakes of the past, it must also anticipate the opportunities and challenges of the future. Our report warns that GCAP will need to be sufficiently flexible to adapt to emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, and the development of uncrewed aircraft. Madam Deputy Speaker, as a committee, we welcome the UK's partnership with Japan and Italy. Both our partners have much to offer. Italy and the UK have a shared history in combat air, having worked together on Tornado and Typhoon. For Japan, involvement in GCAP is a significant step, both politically and militarily, and we applaud Japan's progress in opening up exports for GCAP, which we believe will be critical for its success. There has been speculation, Madam Deputy Speaker, that further partners may join the programme. Our report is clear that potential benefits of expanding GCAP must be balanced carefully against the risks, and that meeting the 2035 target date must remain paramount. Our report also highlights, as with all defence programmes, GCAP's success will ultimately come down to its workforce. Recruitment and retention will be a major challenge for a programme of this scale. Within the defence industry, there is fierce competition from other sectors for skilled workers. Our report emphasises the importance of ensuring that the existing Typhoon workforce is transitioned onto GCAP, as well as attracting new talent into the sector. And as I conclude my comments, Madam Deputy Speaker, I would like to reflect upon the committee's first visit to Scotland last week. At RAF Lossiemouth, we were privileged to have the opportunity to meet with the Royal Air Force personnel who protect our skies. Our visit was a welcome reminder that for all the advanced capabilities promised by GCAP, the UK's security ultimately rests in the hands of the brave servicemen and women who put their lives on the line to defend us. On behalf of the committee, I pay tribute to their dedication and professionalism and give them our sincere gratitude. I commend this report to the House.
James Cartlidge.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I thank the Chair for his excellent report and also for his very vigorous opening statement reminding the House about the great history of the UK in combat air. We, on this side, strongly support GCAP because we want that great tradition to continue well into the future. But of course, GCAP is not just about the Tempest platform. It's meant to be about a system of systems offering technological advance to the RAF in areas like AI and autonomy. And given how important that is and how the committee's report focuses on transparency, does the Chair agree with me that we particularly need financial transparency in ensuring there is adequate funding both for the platform at the core, the Tempest, but also for those associated technologies, because they could bring enhancements to the lethality of the RAF well before 2035?
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I welcome the words of the Shadow Defence Secretary, and indeed I thank his Shadow Defence Minister because he too was a part of the previous Defence Committee. So thank you for all of his work as well. He is absolutely right. The Ministry of Defence must balance funding pressures in the near and long term, but crucial is transparency from the government over the costs of GCAP so that government and Parliament and the public can rightly expect that value for money which the previous chair of the Treasury Committee so eloquently highlighted.
Friend on an excellent statement. He will know that the committee which I was part of in the previous Parliament was able to visit Japan and Italy. And of course we saw for ourselves the tremendous enthusiasm for the project and how they wanted to work very, very closely with us. Now he touched on the issue towards the end of his statement about the importance of the workforce, and that is absolutely right. But also in terms of the future defence industrial base, this project is absolutely crucial, is it not?
I thank my right honourable friend, and indeed my gratitude to him for his work on the previous Defence Committee as well as this Defence Committee in helping to bring the report to fruition. He is absolutely right. I think our partners, whether in Japan and Italy, for them this is crucial, but for our own defence industrial base, if we do not commit wholeheartedly to GCAP, I think that we as a nation, it will be to our detriment.
Lewis. tornado, typhoon and tempest has a sort of ring to it. I understand why we're using the term GCAP, but I think it leaves a lot to be desired presentationally. One of the reasons is that it's so much more than just the Tempest airframe. There are going to be these autonomous aircraft that will fly in conjunction with it. How confident is the chairman of the committee that all this can be done on a fast-moving landscape within the scope of just a 10-year programme?
Tanmanjeet Dhesi.
I thank the former chair of the Intelligence and Security Committee, and far be it for me to be well versed with acronyms and to offer something more salient than tempest or tornado or typhoon. But perhaps the government, I see the minister is in her place, and perhaps a better acronym than GCAP can be forthcoming. On the point of ensuring that the programme is met, as well as ensuring that we are working with our partners, I think it's incredibly important that that actually happens. The committee have highlighted the need to meet the programme. It is a very, very ambitious programme, but to meet that by 2035 will take substantial amounts of effort.
Bailey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I welcome the statement on the report by our committee. As the Shadow Defence Secretary made clear, GCAP is a system of systems, but GCAP, like every programme, requires a pipeline training solution. Our report highlights the need for a solution on jet training now that production for the Hawk aircraft series has been shuttered after 1,000 aircraft were produced and exported to 18 countries. This is a grave mistake. And as our GCAP partners are now looking for a GCAP trainer in the US, we have now nothing to offer them. Our defence and aerospace industry cannot survive on elite technology alone. And does my honourable friend agree that we need to look at jet trainers as part of a necessity for the training system that is offered as part of GCAP for its pilots, our industry and economic growth?
Tanmanjeet Dhesi.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I agree with my honourable friend, the member for Leyton and Wanstead, and indeed thank him for his work on the Defence Committee. He has certainly hit the ground running. In terms of his views on training, fully agree. And as the committee's report found, what has happened in terms of training and around the Hawk aircraft, absolute blunder. I think there's a huge missed opportunity, and we must ensure that in future we do not miss such opportunities, because otherwise it will be to our national detriment.
Calum Miller.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the Chair and his committee for their industry and for this excellent report. The Select Committee Chair has highlighted the size of the GCAP programme and the need for programmes like this to show greater flexibility. So I'd like to ask whether it is his intention for the committee to look during this Parliament at the agile procurement of the sort that we're seeing in Ukraine, and whether it will be the committee's intention to make recommendations to the government on this topic.
Tanmanjeet Dhesi.
I thank my honourable friend, the spokesman for the Liberal Democrats. And yes, there is already something that we have been looking into. We have, as a Defence Committee, held evidence sessions on Ukraine, and many of us are very, very, very impressed by what is going on in Ukraine and the agility that is being displayed. And we are hoping that many of those lessons will be learnt by our government and by us here in the UK.
Will Stone.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Chair. I want to thank the chairman for, well, my honourable friend, for the chairman of the Defence Select Committee, for his statement on GCAP. There's been some suggestion that Saudi Arabia and other global partners might want to join the programme. What does the Defence Select Committee think of that? Thank you.
Tanmanjeet Dhesi.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I thank my honourable friend, the member from Swindon, for his question. The existing partnership with Japan and Italy is a strong one, but we must recognise that further partners could benefit the programme. But in our report, we actually warn that including any additional partners will require careful consideration, and that cannot be allowed to jeopardise the 2035 target date. That is paramount.
In room.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Would my honourable friend, the chair of the Defence Select Committee, agree that with our Italian and Japanese partners committing to multi-year funding plans for GCAP to give confidence to industry, the UK should show a similar commitment?
Deputy Speaker, I thank my honourable friend, the member for Devon North, for his excellent question and indeed for his hard work on the Defence Committee, and long may that continue. I wholeheartedly agree with him, and I hope that the ministers are listening intently to that, because multi-year funding settlements can afford us with that extra stability to provide a lot more within a shorter space of time.
Graham Downey.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I congratulate my honourable friend and indeed the whole Defence Select Committee on a fantastic report. Can I just ask him two very short questions? One, he talked about the export potential of Tempest during his contribution. I wonder if he could expand a little bit on that and how the government, he believes, might be able to ensure that. And second, just if there's a way through informal collaboration that could happen with the other consortiums pursuing sixth-generation fighters, where there might be an opportunity where general lessons can be learned between the three programmes, all of whom, of course, involve our allies.
Dhesi.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I thank my honourable friend, the member for Dunfermline and Dollar. Indeed, in terms of collaborations, that is something that we should always be open to. I hope that the Ministry of Defence is looking into that. And in terms of his first question on exports, that is something that I highlighted within my introductory remarks, and that's why I commended Japan, because the real potential for us is not merely to deliver on these next generation jets, but also our ability to export, because they contribute so much to the exchequer and for the provision of public services in our country.
Robin Swan.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker, and can I thank the Honourable Member for his statement and declaring interest as a member of the Armed Forces Parliamentary Scheme. In March 2024, the RAF published its autonomous collaborative platform strategy. Is the Chair of the Committee content with the assurances that there is sufficient flexibility built into GCAP to allow them to operate alongside a range of uncrewed solutions?
Dhesi.
I thank my honourable friend, the member from Northern Ireland, for his comments and question. In terms of autonomous aircraft, that is something that has been looked at within the committee, and we do hope that we will be able to realise the full benefits. Only time will tell just how much of a benefit we realise.
Richard Ford.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I commend the Chair and the Defence Committee for turning their scrutinising eye to the Global Combat Air Programme. I just wondered, the Chair talked about the benefits and risks of new partners and explained that we need to weigh the benefits against the risks. In previous multilateral fighter jet programmes, there's been an overestimation of just how much of the product could be exported. Reuters said last November that it was potentially Saudi Arabia that would be a fourth partner on this programme. Could the Chair expand on some of the benefits and risks of adding Saudi Arabia to the programme as it relates to exports?
I thank my honourable friend, the member for the Intelligence Security Committee, and indeed a former spokesman for Defence for the Liberal Democrats. Having extra partners on board can be very, very beneficial. It can share the cost burden and it can enhance our exports possibilities. But as the committee rightly noted, that adding additional partners will require careful consideration, because under no circumstances, Madam Deputy Speaker, should we allow to jeopardise the 2035 target date, because otherwise that could have serious cost implications for the Exchequer.
Finally, Jim Shannon.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the Chair very much for his statement today? And in the statement, the Chair referred to the demand for skilled workers. Just on Friday past, I had the opportunity to meet the Unite and GMB unions in relation to the airspace sector in Northern Ireland. The Chair will be aware that a skilled workforce already exists there in Northern Ireland. Can I ask the Chair what discussions are being held with this sector within Northern Ireland to transfer the Global Combat Air Programme skills through both smaller on larger operations and contracts.
Yes.
I thank my honourable friend, the member for Strangford, for his excellent question, as always. In terms of having a robust defence industrial base, that is vital, as is a skilled workforce. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I mentioned, our report calls for a holistic approach to recruitment and retention. We, as a committee, have had various meetings with union representatives, and that is why we feel that it is very important to retain our existing typhoon workforce, wherever that may be within the UK, and I'm sure the Minister will have heard his comments about Northern Ireland.
That concludes that statement.